Uh, Good evening, everybody. I'm Mavis, a principal of Bovet Primary School in Alexandra. When you speak, or when you are the last speaker, you don't have much to say. Basically, a lot of stuff have been touched by our colleagues. And then, where do I start? Mm, when I met with Nic last year, and the partnership started, Nic found me in a difficult position. I've been going through a lot of challenges at school, fighting with unions and having staff with a lot of negative energy and, disgruntled. They want positions, all of them, and there are only a few and all that stuff. And then when I met Nic, I realized that he's very passionate about education, and that really encouraged me. But at the back of my mind, I said to myself, I wonder if Nic will continue with me after realizing that the school has got so many problems. But here we are today. It's a year or over a year, and it's like we have just started yesterday. Our school in the township, it's very big. We have over 1,400 learners within a very small space, insufficient classrooms, insufficient working space, playing space for learners and all that. And then at first, I thought, you know what, getting a partner means, Holland, it's a big company, rich, and we're going to have a lot of money. They may build us a lot of classrooms and all that. And then I realized that, you know what, our partnership is different. It's a, learning partnership, having somebody who say to you, let me work with you. And that is very, very important because sometimes our job can be very lonely. And then when you have somebody who you can cry with, laugh with, as I've been doing with Nic, it's very comforting. And then Nic came to our school. At first, I didn't say anything about the challenges at the school because I didn't want to scare him. And then I said to myself, let him find out what's happening on his own. And then we started interacting, started sketching things around. He wanted to know what's happening and all that. So we did that. And then what I like with Nic, he made it a point that he meet with all the stakeholders at the school. He started with me and then the deputies, the HODs, the staff and all that. The union reps, which is very, very critical. So to the extent that whatever we do, and when we say, no, this is the partnership with Nic and all that, everybody wants to listen and they want to get along with whatever we're doing. So it has been a lovely walk. And then basically, personally for me, I found a person that I could download to when I'm having baggages and all that. And he would listen to me without judging or criticizing and all that, which is very rare because in most cases, when you start opening up your mouth, people will begin to say, hey, why didn't you do that? Why don't you do that? Why can't you do it like this and all that? But I found somebody who could listen and think with me to find out as to what is it that we can do to make sure that the situation improves. So it has been a great work. In fact, we agreed that I'll just give a brief introduction, and then he will say what we have done, and which is very little, comparatively speaking. But We have just started, and the most important part of it is that our partnership is not ending, although Symphonia says it's a year a program, but our program is continuing. One of the things, although I'll leave him to say a lot, is that in a township like Alexandra, most of our challenges is that parents don't want to participate in their children's education. When you give the kids homework, they don't care whether a child has to do homework or not. And sometimes they go to the extent of saying, your teacher is supposed to do that. And then with our interaction with Nic, we will take parents grade by grade and, orientate them or teach them how to be good parents or how to participate in their children's education. So anyway, our walk with Ray was beautiful. And then we would look forward to all those meetings in 6 weeks' times. And then what I enjoyed most in those meetings is that we'll go to different places. I enjoyed moving into the corporate world where you see these big, beautiful buildings and, you sort of breathe fresh air. I really enjoyed that. And it was really, really wonderful. I appreciate all the people that we've been interacting with, working together. It was a wonderful journey. And for me and Nic, the journey is continuing.
Hi, my name's Nic. I'm from Hollard. When we got together, I think it was September last year at the first community building session, when I met Mavis and I knew she was a principal, I knew straight away that that's who I wanted to partner with. Just my first interaction, I think we just talked for about 2 minutes. Mike and Mavis were talking outside and I rudely interrupted them. And from that moment, sorry Mike, no offense, but it was Mavis that, you did well with Chantal, that I wanted to be with. And I want to start off with, if I know people in the corporate world who, if they had to deal with a 10th or 100th of the challenges that Mavis faces on a daily basis, they would have resigned, given up, and moved jobs. It is phenomenal that every time I go and see Mavis, there's a new crisis, a new challenge, and it's just sometimes the pit of despair, and I use those words quite carefully, because sometimes when I get there, it is a pit of despair, because I look at Mavis and I go, how are you going to get out of this? Because I don't know how you're going to get out of this without firing everyone. And there's been many occasions when I've been with Mavis and she's telling me the frustration with the unions and her staff that I just fire them. But that's the easy corporate way to do it. But it's been an amazing journey. I'm passionate about this country, and my passion for this country is that I've had the privilege of growing up in this country, and I want my children to grow up in this country. And I've realized that if I don't make a difference, that there's potential that my kids won't be in this country in the future. So if I don't start trying to give back to something, then that dream will never be a reality. And so when Carmony approached me in Hollard, I said, yeah, absolutely, this is definitely something that I fancy. And I took the typical corporate view that I'm going to go and change the world, and I had this grand vision that we were going to be on TV and radio and everything, until our very first meeting at Bovet. And I was shocked. I was for 1,400 kids. And do yourself a favor, go to the schools in Alex. There's this like big kind of apartment buildings on a tiny piece of land. And sometimes there's kids, they actually 2 classes share a classroom, a board on one side, and it's hot in summer, it's cold in winter, and it's just, you actually wonder how these things actually function on a daily basis. But Mavis does, and her determination and her passion for the kids is phenomenal. My advice to any of you going on the journey is that the challenge is bigger than you will ever imagine when you get in there. What we hear on the radio and what we read in the newspaper is just the tip of the iceberg, and is often just a biased view of what's going on. When you get in there, the challenges are immense. But pick through the challenges like we did. We took a long time to understand what the root causes of our challenges were in the school. And I think we're still actually on that journey trying to understand what the root causes are. And simple things like communication with the parents. And we did, for the SGB elections, we actually just did SMSs, and we had the best turnout they ever had. It's simple like that, because you can't rely on the kids to give a paper to the parents. Never get. I never gave a piece of paper to my parents when I was a child. We understand that the community, we need to get the community involved in the school. But one of the fundamental challenges at Bovet is the teaching body. I've yet to meet a more demotivated bunch of individuals. There are some pockets of brightness within them who want to shine, but kind of the peer pressure and that group thing just pulls them back in. And I remember our first kind of community building thing with the teachers to try and share the vision, and actually not share the vision, but build the vision with them, and said, what do you think you want the school to look like in the future? Some people were sleeping, others were fear of talking out because they're victimized by others looking at their watch because it's 3 o'clock and it's time to get going. And people actually, one of the teachers said it's 5 to 3, we need to leave at 3. And to me, from the corporate world, it was challenging. So what I've learned through this thing is a lot of patience. I think I've learned the art of listening. My family won't say the same, but the art of listening is challenging. It is very challenging. It's hard to work in a corporate world where you're always jumping in, giving advice, and do this and do that. And I had to stop myself with Mavis. And literally, there's been days, and I think our best session was sometime in May, where I actually sat in an office for about 4 hours. I didn't say a word. And I didn't write something on a piece of paper, but I remember almost every word that Mavis said to me in that discussion. It was when I got in the car on the way home that night, and it was late. It was 6:30. It was winter, so the sun was, and I was driving out of Alex, and I was on the phone to my wife, and I said, I've just had the most incredible experience just actually listening to Mavis and actually understanding her world. So I implore all of you going on the course, on the journey, do it. If those of you still deciding, go for it. You won't regret it. Don't look for big changes. Some of you will get massive changes overnight, and it's fantastic. But look for the small ones and the incremental ones, because those are the ones that you can build on and grow. And the biggest thing that Mavis and I did, and we did discuss the money thing, and we were never going to come from our view and just dump money and build classrooms and sports fields, because that's not kind of what it's about. And if it was all about sustainability, so when Mavis and I aren't there in the future, are the benefits of what we've done still going? And that's the key, is that whatever we need needs to be systemic and sustainable going in the future. So thank you very much to Symphonia, to everyone involved. It's been an incredible journey. I look forward to the more partnership at our circles when we get together. Even though they're on a formal basis, I've actually found the last one very rewarding that we had at Joe's school. Thank you to Mavis. You opened my eyes, and I look forward to the rest of our journey. Thank you.